I was slowly skiing across a simple blue trail when I hit an ice patch. My legs trembled. I toppled downhill on my side, my eyes flooding with tears. It was hours before ski patrol arrived, even though my dad said it was barely 8 minutes. Now, what exactly was my family doing when this incident took place? Well, my sister Lola immediately rushed over to ask if I was actually hurt while trying to make me stop crying. My father was out of sight, 50 yards downhill, as I heard him faintly yell, "Come on, Lily, you can ski it off." My mother and eldest sister, Lucy, were already at the bottom of the mountain waiting for us at the lift. When ski patrol arrived, they asked me about where I had hurt myself, trying to get as much information as possible. On the ride down, the officer had complimented my ski goggles. These specific ski goggles were my holy grail. I had spent weeks of research on what pair of goggles to buy and was willing to pay for half of them, no matter the price. I had purchased the goggles the night before in a ski shop and dubbed them my dream goggles. So when the ski patrol officer complimented them, the thought of only being able to wear my goggles for 1 hour hurt more than my actual broken leg. Hours later, I was sent out of the clinic with x-ray results, pain medication, a broken leg, and crutches that I could barely walk with. When I returned back to school, I was overwhelmed by the number of people who wanted to sign my cast, including my sister, whose signature took up almost a quarter of it, which went from my toes to above my knee. The following week, our photos were being taken for the 4th grade yearbook page, where you were instructed to hold up a chalkboard that said what you wanted to be when you grew up. I instantly wrote skier and received a few confused looks from the classroom moms, although I ignored the judgment and smiled for my picture. I never let the injury interfere with my determination to get back on the slopes. I realized that I loved skiing because of how naturally it came to me and the lack of rules needed to persist. I knew the rush of adrenaline received when racing down the mountain would not be a forgotten sensation. I stayed in my itchy cast for 5 weeks, so it was a huge relief when I got it off. When the doctor removed it, he asked, "So, do you want to keep it?" To which my mom responded, "We are never letting that thing back in our house again." I didn't let my new boots stop me from completing my everyday tasks, so in the spring I decided to run the mile. I finished with a time of around 40 minutes with my friends walking with me at my side. As May Day came along, I begged the teachers to let me participate in the maypole dance, although they said my limping didn't reach their standards of skipping. So, instead, I sat at the base of the pole, holding it in place while my peers galloped around me. When I got my boot off, bending my leg at the ankle became the new challenge. I complained and complained about my ankle exercises, although I was yet to have the realization that this is the only way I will ever be able to continue skiing comfortably. So, I complained more until I was threatened to be put in physical therapy, which is what really kept me quiet. The following year after I broke my leg, I was extremely nervous to return to the slopes. My first time back on skis after the injury was my first school ski trip at Umpqua, and I barely had the nerve to tell my friends that I was too afraid to ski. I begged to go down the bunny hill a few times at first, but when I did, it was all muscle memory, and my turns and carving had felt more natural than ever. On the next ski trip, I'd gone down the hardest trail there, Satan's Stairway, a double black diamond, which was awfully simple since it is easily comparable to an intermediate trail in Colorado. When I was young, I was put in ski school and learned one thing. I didn't like being told what to do. All we ever did was go down a little bunny hill with an instructor in front of us, which I found very boring as a crazy 4-year-old. So I skipped the whole wait for the instructor thing and bombed it, going straight down the mountain, crashing into the net at the bottom, which earned me the name the Insane Bull. As I advanced, I always begged to ski at the front of the line, but my nonstop complaining kept me at the back. Soon I was good enough to keep up with my family, so we had a private instructor. One of our favorite instructors was Maddie, who was one of the most reckless people we had ever met. He taught my family the terrain park, and by that, I mean he did flips, and he helped us with our tiny jumps and boxes. He helped us perfect our form and turns, so now I'm constantly challenging my family or friends to a race, or who can get the most air going off of jumps, which usually doesn't end too well. The competition between me and my sisters constantly motivates me to improve. My family's annual Colorado skiing trip to Beaver Creek has tremendously influenced my life. We have several family traditions, such as riding up in a snowcat to a mid-mountain restaurant to eat dinner, creating our own trails through 3-foot-deep powder, going off of our favorite jumps through the trees, and so many more that I wish to carry on into adulthood. Every year, our trip is over President's Weekend plus a few extra days. My most recent trip was last week, and I had lots of fun as it may possibly be my last one. Creating our own trails through the trees is the highlight of the trip each year, since, by the end, everyone has crashed into at least 2 trees or had to dig through the snow to uncover a pole. Skiing through the trees is more leisurely than anything until you come to a halt, with a 15-foot drop at the tip of your skis with almost no room to go around. Or when you come across a massive fallen tree and you have to take off your skis to continue along your way. Despite my numerous crashes and wipeouts sending powder down my coat and into my helmet, it still fails to teach me full control and common sense. I know that I will never stop skiing until skiing stops me. Thank you.